to Edge Radio Australia, and always the great pleasure to have this gentleman in the room because it means it's time for the greater wealth, the great collision between politics and finance. And today we've got a subject that's really a lot about finances and a little politics, let's be true, about a man who's done very well. But before we do that, he's done rather well for himself. I think that could be the understatement of the century.
Done all right.
Done all right. He's done all right. But a man who can do you right, who can set you up on the path to great financial future, of course, with Blue Sky Factory. Sarah Whitaker.
Hey, how you doing?
Great to see you, mate. Absolutely great. I'm looking forward to today's show. A gentleman who got a little controversy attached to him.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know, I was thinking about this before coming in from our era when we walked in. You remember the $1 Million Man, the television series?
Oh,
the
Bionic Man. Hang on. $6 Million Man.
Oh, $6 million Man. What's six? Okay,
inflation, mate. Come on.
Well, that's really interesting because that's the number of man, six according to the Hebrew.
Right.
I didn't know that. Okay. So there you go. You learn something every time I come to Edge Radio.
I'm here to educate, mate.
Then we thought, you know, million doesn't sound too much, right?
That's right.
So we thought billion. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of money.
Sounds like a lot.
Well, guess what? Now we've got the first $1 trillion man.
$1 trillion man.
I mean,
tell you what, you can't make that out of Lego. That's
a lot
amazing.
of zeros. So
how many zeros? I'm going to put you right on the spot.
I know.
There.
I mean, billion is 9. I'm going to type it in. How many zeros is trillion? Because this is a lot of money, okay? And good old chat GPT, 12 zeros now.
12 zeros.
12 zeros.
You're using the tech straight away.
I am.
Right? You're actually using some of, Elon's minions, right? And you notice I said minions because I'm kind of, no, I'm not peckish. I'm not thinking about dinner. But it's so interesting this subject comes up right now because somebody yesterday was having a conversation with me and they were rather angry about the fact that, okay, it's Elon's fault. Everyone's going to be unemployed. AI is going to take over. Yeah, the world's all going, to hell in a handbasket.
Well, it's great in the sense of that this comes up. Excuse me, because AI is certainly a revolution in terms of the industrial revolution. Absolutely. Okay. I was talking to a guy who owns a part share in an AI company a few weeks ago. It's one of my clients actually, and he's saying, look, people think that the jobs are going to disappear. They're not. They're just going to go to people who know how to use AI.
Right. Okay.
And that's the big defining difference there. And I think so learning now is really, really important.
I agree.
And I think some industries are certainly going to be challenged by that. And I think there's going to be an absolute overhaul of the education system, first of all. I mean,
I think it's a good thing.
Elon is saying we won't need surgeons in the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, okay, the precision of a computer is more accurate than a human being most of the time. But there's also Control-Alt-Delete, okay? And computers do still, have problems. And the longer the more advanced the tech gets, the more problems we seem to have in a lot of ways. And that's my perception. So having a surgeon working on me, doing a bit of open heart, whatever he happens to be up to, that still concerns me a bit.
Yeah. Look, there's a whole different range of social issues as well attached to all of this. And this is the thing with AI, we don't know what we're getting into.
No.
And it's a bit like the internet when it was first coming on board. It was like, who would have thought that you could go to an app on your phone and order a Uber to come and pick you up in the next 5 minutes?
No way.
You would never have thought that. You would never thought it would disrupt the postal system so much.
So true.
And they'd have to get other means of income coming in to do their services. But at the same time, you get packages delivered to your door within days now from overseas. I mean, there's amazing benefits to it as well.
Oh, I know.
So, and look, parenting is a lot harder now with all this technology. It's just so much more complicated.
Well, that's it. But we used to have to go and seek out information. It was very difficult. Like maybe it wasn't very difficult, but you had to have, the village elder, if you like. You had to have the expert in the departments. And people now, I've got big reservations on this. I like the fact that you have to go talk to a person and get real information. Now with the internet, okay, you've got a lot of real people at your fingertips, which is sensational, but you're still missing that element. And also you're missing, algorithms could be involved. The message may be muddied, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides to it. Absolutely. I find it fascinating when I hear my son start spouting information that I know he's researched. He's like me, he loves researching.
Right.
But it's on topics that I've never researched before. Okay. And I'm like, far out, you know a lot more about that than I do. So it's it's a really interesting dynamic of what is the truth. And I think that's going to be harder to discern sometimes with AI, because we are seeing that it can be deceptive. There are techniques that it does, and it's very much about affirming you and making you feel great. It's like, look, just give me the facts.
Just before we went on air, like I showed you a picture of me as a superhero, okay? Clearly, that is not accurate information. That is misinformation.
Well, some people would think you're a superhero, Aaron. I mean, it's all who you ask, right?
Dear. I will say I didn't come up with the idea, okay? But I'll tell you this, we'll get on to Elon here, because how do we put this in a box here, right? This guy now is a trillionaire, amount of money that, I mean, I can't even contemplate. What's that? It's 1,000 billion. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can contemplate. It's a hell of a lot of money. It's a hell of a lot of power. Now, a lot of people have got straight on the run of being, I don't know, the tall poppy and tearing him down and saying this and that, and he could do a lot with it. Well, I kind of think he is doing a lot with it.
He is doing a lot with it. I think, look, let's put it in perspective. It's not like he's sitting in the bank with $1 trillion sitting in the bank. What he's doing is basically, this is his net worth across all his companies, all his shares, all his crypto, all his assets, etc. This is what they're estimating.
Yep.
And they're doing this figure on basis of this last IPO that he's offered out on Friday night. There was a big thing on Wall Street.
Right.
And we'll have a look at it in a minute.
Okay.
But I think that the thing about Elon is the story. And I think he is a great visionary. And this is what people buy into, is his vision. He really wants to take things to the next level. Look at Tesla. For years, Tesla's stock was really not making any money.
Sure.
And yet the price of it was crazy compared to what it was actually earning. And I think it's because he's a visionary and people buy the vision. Has it changed? Absolutely. How many Teslas are on the road these days?
Too many. Can't say the bloody things. I think I see them as fridges that just drive down the road. They're white goods.
His skills as well. He's very good at marketing.
Yes.
Brilliant at marketing. And the other thing is he's very good at recruiting talented people. Those elements, 3 elements, really combine and package him up in terms of why he's so likable by so many. Now, of course, not everybody likes Elon. That's fine. I'm not into whether you like or dislike him, but those 3 things have worked for him.
Yep.
If you hear his story too, let's have a look at this first video that does dive into the history. A couple of comments come in. So, so Taz, thank you for the comment there. I really appreciate that. We'll jump back to that in just a tick. But let's get into the videos here. Let's go. Now, how long ago was this video taken? This is an oldie. This was on 60 Minutes years and years ago.
He looks about 16. Yeah. All right, let's give it a go.
Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight and the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here, and I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
Certainly hoping they would.
What are you trying to prove to them?
What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone, and I would hope for as much support in that direction as we.
It's quite emotional on that.
I can't get over that. I've never seen that before, and he's obviously very, very touched about that. It really is. I mean, he's seeing his heroes are knocking what he's doing, his life's work. So that is interesting.
You look at the story of Elon, born in South Africa, bullied as a kid, immigrated to North America, arrived with a backpack and a dream. He built Zip2 with his brother, sold it 4 years later for $300 million, co-founded PayPal.
Yes. With
the profits. I mean, how many of us have used PayPal? Revolutionized digital payments, sold PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion, bet everything on Tesla and SpaceX, got mocked for electric cars, got laughed at for reusable rockets, nearly went bankrupt in 2008, kept building, turned Tesla into the world's most valuable automaker in many ways in terms of stock price. Because when you compare what Ford's trading for compared to Tesla, it's huge. Made EVs mainstream, transformed the automotive industry. All the other people were trying to catch up with him and bring out their own electric vehicles so they didn't get caught out in the whole green push. Made reusable rockets a reality. I think it's fascinating how a rocket can be caught again by those arms. I mean, it's
just amazing vision. I'd love to see that in real life.
Sparked the modern economic space race. Built Starlink. Don't forget Starlink.
We've forgotten about Starlink. Just a small thing.
You know, that's connected millions around the world. The internet is so much faster than what we get here on your curb.
No question about it. Yeah.
Turned SpaceX into one of the most valuable private companies in history. Then he go buy Twitter for $44 billion.
Which was a terrible investment as far as financially, but for the culture of the world, a very, very important thing.
Absolutely. Advertisers fled because it all mixed up with the politics and that sort of stuff. Critics called it the worst acquisition in tech history. He renamed it X. Why would you do that, right? Then he rebuilds the platform, turns it into one of the most influential platforms on earth as far as journalism is concerned.
Okay.
Launches XAI, which is his, and accelerated the global AI race, sent astronauts to space, trying to get humans to Mars, create millions of jobs, generate hundreds of billions of value, inspired an entire generation of builders. Now, this whole IPO, it's the story and narrative that is attached to Elon, which is so fascinating. I think this is what people buy into when they buy his stock as well, because he's the battler that everybody can identify with and has pushed through it and done incredible things.
I'll argue that point. I'd never seen him as a battler. I've seen him as a brilliant visionary. I see him obviously as a genius with a level of, he's got to be on the spectrum, right? Okay. And I mean that in a very, very positive way. I think this is something that people need to realise, that we all need to be different. And it's a great thing that he is different because he sees the world in a way that most don't.
I think what's ingenious about him too is that he connects his business ventures together. So if you look at what he's done with Tesla, most people aren't aware of this, but when you're driving around in your Tesla, you're actually collecting data for his AI centers, right? It's all connected.
Okay.
And so this is the brilliance of this. You're actually being used as a data collector. Can I just ask
this? Where is John Connor when you need him? Okay.
You know, then you connect that to Starlink. All right. So if that internet's being downloaded that way, can you imagine what's going to do? And then X, formerly known as Twitter, is connecting the social aspect of it too. So you've got people integrating with his products, either passively or actively. The way he interweaves his companies is incredible.
It's clever. It is so clever.
So he's got, 10,000, 9,000 satellites floating up out there. We'll hear more about that in a minute. Yeah, there's a lot to connect the world through that. Now, you can imagine how the AI is going to integrate with all of that.
Okay. Well, on that front, let's bring Taz's comment up there again, if I may, because, obviously we're talking about AI here. Now, let's jump onto that one. Let's bring it up on the screen. So, okay, AI is kind of taking jobs. I mean, look at the self-serve checkouts, but they are flawed because it picks up my wallet or phone as unscanned item. It's so true. I was in the old supermarket yesterday. I was doing exactly that, buying things, and it drives you batty. And I think, look, how long have I worked here? Why am I not at the Christmas party? It is annoying, and that's AI at work. And now you get treated like a thief because they've got the automated doors now that shut, and you've got to wait until the 16-year-old kid lets you out.
Yep.
I was actually literally thinking about this. I thought at one stage I went to a few shops yesterday. I remember the days of Kmart as a kid, and you get to the front and there were all of these, young kids, first jobs. They're out there. They were doing the checkout. All of those jobs, all those entry jobs are gone now, and it is not good for society now. But apparently it brings prices down.
Well, look at the first industrial revolution. What went then?
Yeah.
Okay. It was the weavers and craftsmen that actually got hit hardest, right?
Of course.
And so there were the Luddards that rised up, a party that basically went and bashed the machines down, destroyed them.
Right.
They were pushed out by society.
Okay.
In terms of, someone was sent to Australia. Yeah. A union started forming and this sort of stuff. Now, what did that do socially? Okay, it brought people into the cities. Formed cities, formed slums, bad hygiene, all this sort of stuff. However, what it did do is disperse wealth more evenly. It created a middle class.
It did.
And then legislation came in to protect child workers and all this sort of stuff, and workers and unions started forming. So I'm expecting the same pattern to follow as we've done in history to happen with the artificial intelligence revolution. Is we'll have innovation, there'll be social changes, people will – is there opportunity to have better health in this? Elon seems to think so.
Sure.
Is there an opportunity to disperse more wealth? Well, I think it's going to be easier to actually start your own business as an entrepreneur in some respects if you find the right niche. And from there, I think it's going to be easier to – you will see legislation come in to protect people in different parts of society.
Well, right now we're seeing the destruction of the middle class. I mean, that is very, very prevalent.
Part of that's been a socialist political agenda.
Exactly right. I'm not blaming AI for this. AI is late in the party on this one, but it's still part of that picture. All of this needs, we need quality people. We need genuine statesmen and women who will actually step up and not be thinking about a 3 or 4 year term. They'll actually be thinking about the betterment of the world.
I think AI has the illusion that we'll sit around, we'll have nothing more to do, we'll have a robot doing all the work for us and this sort of stuff. I don't think that's going to happen because I look at this, right? When a washing machine was invented, right, that was a big time saver. But what do we do? Well, when the computer was invented, we just find more things to do as humanity. We don't just sit around doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think with work outputs, I think it's going to be, bosses are going to expect, okay, AI allowed you to do what used to take 2 weeks. Now you did it in just 20 seconds.
Yep.
Now we expect you to do more over that time and have greater outputs for the business. And I think that's all we're going to do is just fill up it with more things.
Just change the level of productivity, I guess, yeah? Okay, all right. Another comment here. There we go. Bring that one up there. Applying for a job is mostly online and filtered by AI. I applied for so many jobs online and all declined. The jobs I have because I emailed the company or boss directly. Now, I'm going to tell everyone a little tip here, which somebody in the old HR world taught me. If you're applying for jobs online, here's a way of getting through the AI and getting through all the programs. What you do is you get all of the requirements for the job that are actually there on the application, you cut them, and then you paste them in white on your application. You can't see it to the naked eye, but AI picks it up and it says, oh my God, they're completely qualified for this job. Right. So it's about knowing the ways to, I don't know, get around the tools, if you like, and emphasize that.
I think also so many people are applying for jobs now. 200 applications within 48 hours is not unusual because people just run the resume through AI, copy paste, these LinkedIn platforms and this sort of stuff. You can do it within such a time. I think you've got to start customizing it more so you stand out from the rest because everybody's using AI. And I think this is the problem. A lot of people think AI rules out that we don't have to think. No, not at all. You have to be a master at what you do.
Sure.
It's letting the AI not run your life, but you be your servant. You have to rule over it. And I think there's no excuse for not being the specialist in your area.
Well, and when AI sort of started becoming prevalent, okay, I was afraid of it. Okay, I think of myself copywriting, writing ads for people. I thought, I'm going to get replaced in no end of time. Okay, it's not actually how it happened. I've actually been using it as an inspirational sort of tool. I've been using it to save myself a bit of time to maybe so I would think about things I normally wouldn't think about. I've used it as a tool, but the human element is still involved because when it's straight AI, you can tell a million miles away. Sure. And it loses credibility in my eyes anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's not that human element or heart. I don't write copy with if I'm going to send it to my database using AI. I might use it a little bit for the title and to fine-tuning one or two things. Yep. But, I write from the heart. And I think that's because of years of writing that way for radio and other media experiences and other companies that wanted marketing. You don't lose that. You know what works and what connects. And I think that's really, really critical to recognize what connects to the human being. And this is getting back to Elon, what he's done. He's connected with the inspiration of what he does, that dream. Now, does that necessarily mean it's a good financial investment, SpaceX? I'm not here to endorse it. I'm not here to just to slam it. Okay, this is not general specific advice. And I'll talk about SpaceX in just a moment, but this is the largest IPO that's ever happened in history, hoping to raise $1.76 trillion. It's massive. Have a look at this next video because this is Elon when they were about to launch it just before the stock market opened. I haven't included the whole speech. That's over 5 minutes, but take a look at this. You get a feel for what happened on the time.
They were simply not pursuing the technology that's necessary to make life multiplanetary, to make Star Trek, to make the exciting science fiction futures that we've read about real. And that's what SpaceX is all about, is to take the fiction out of science fiction and create an exciting, inspiring future for everyone. We want to be able to take anyone who wants to go to the moon, anyone who wants to go to Mars, or anyone in the solar system, and maybe beyond the solar system at some point. We want to be able to take you there. Not just a few astronauts. I mean you, literally you. If you watch, whoever you are watching this, SpaceX wants to be able to take you to the moon, take you to Mars, and ultimately beyond. And And I'm confident at this point that with the incredible team that we have here at SpaceX, that we will do that for you.
All right, first question is, why don't I get applause like that when I present it?
How many employees have you got, Aaron? I think that's a big reason.
It's just me in a room on my own.
I'll give you a clap,
Thanks,
mate. We'll give the polite one, shall we?
Thank you for the pity party. All right.
I think what's interesting is a lot of those employees just became millionaires overnight when the IPO went out, right?
Good
and that's
point.
why they're clapping, because they were what they call the insiders. They got SpaceX basically gave their employees shares to the company, which was really, really smart. Now, he admitted in the speech that he didn't think this would work. He had a 10% chance of being a success.
I missed that. Jeez.
Yeah, he says that at the beginning. I didn't include that. It's a long speech, but he thought it was going to be a failure.
Okay.
And he said, sometimes we do this because we've got to give the world hope that you get up in the morning and go, there's a reason that we can do things. And I think, again, that it sells the vision.
I'm going to interrupt for, this little comment here. Right, what's gone on with Australian politics over the last month or so with budgets and destruction of small business and what's been going on, it is so important to support the people who give us hope, the people who roll the dice, the small business person. It is so important. And I think that's right across the board. Like, go to your small businesses, try to keep away from the big multinationals. And no, I'm not having a go at the multinationals, but, I have no interest in putting up a third or fourth story on a CEO's house, okay? But I'm very, very happy to put their kids through T-ball or footy or whatever, right? So I think that's important. We see so much of that. A lot of people have a go and go, oh, he's a trillionaire, yada, 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 and they'll tall poppy him. He's a man with a dream, a lot of them, and a lot of vision. And without that spirit, we don't move forward.
Yeah. I think somebody asked me, is AI heading down a road that is going to be bad? I said, look, it's neutral. The technology itself is neither good nor bad. It's the heart of humanity behind it that drives it, whether it does good or evil. And I think this is what we're going to keep in mind, okay? Radio can be used for good or evil. Television can be used for good or evil. Then we went to the internet. That can be used for good or evil. AI can be good for evil. And money can be used for good or evil, all right? It's the heart of humanity that is the issue. And when people start to use these tools for evil intent, then you got an issue. And I think that's an important thing to bear in mind.
I agree with that.
And if we look at this, you might be thinking, well, why would Elon float this when the company was doing well? Now, keep in mind, this company is not just about going to the moon and back and building these data centers and all this in moon. We'll get into that in a second with this next video. But it also has Starlink wrapped into it and a few other things. Starlink's been very profitable for Elon. Good cash flow there. They charge a good rate to do that monthly. It's great internet. I've used it. And so there's a few companies. The one that has been lagging this is the AI factory. It's costing them a lot of money and it's not profitable. Now, people have been asking, look, why would you invest in this? They've been targeting 1.75 trillion valuation. Why would Elon need the money? Have a look at this video and you'll hear what his ambition is.
So I want to make sure I get to each one. Some of them came from folks here. They're all important. But one, just to start, is why SpaceX public now? Because you had choices, you didn't have to. Why now?
Yeah, I've been asked for many years about taking SpaceX public. So it's probably been, I don't know, almost 10 years that people have been suggesting to me that I should take SpaceX public. We've been positive cash flow for quite a long time, I think, since around 2014, 2015. And we've been self-funding. In fact, in our private equity rounds, they actually have not been fundraising rounds. They've been liquidity rounds for investors and employees because we give everyone at the company stock. And SpaceX has actually bought back stock in most of our sort of funding events. So what's different about now is that it's a number of things, but we are embarking on a significant growth phase, like a capital growth phase, where we are going to put in orbit probably 100,000 satellites, or probably over 100,000 satellites just for communications. And these will be the version 3 and beyond versus version 2 and version 1 that are currently in orbit. Version 3 is, depending on how you count it, 10 to 20 times more capable than the version 2 satellite. And there were 3 chips that the SpaceX chip design team taped out that are specific to this, that are far beyond state of the art, which means it's 100 times more bandwidth than the SpaceX Starlink system currently offers. And also half the latency, because the altitude will be about half the altitude. I think it will actually be the highest bandwidth, lowest latency means of communicating. And the future with AI and robots is actually going to require a lot more bandwidth than we currently use. Because you can imagine, what's the bandwidth of a human? Its peak bandwidth of a human is a few hundred bits per second, but bandwidth of a computer can be a trillion bits a second. So the appetite for bandwidth of AI and robots is going to be enormous. And then we're also doing the AI data centers in space, which is another massive capital endeavor. But I think it'll be the primary means by which AI can be expanded. It's increasingly difficult to build power plants on the ground. There are very few people who want a power plant in their backyard. So if we wanted to, say, double the electricity usage of the United States, which is on average about 500 gigawatts, we would have to build about twice as many power plants, which I don't think most communities are not super excited about that. But actually, if we go to space, we can go far beyond the electricity generation of Earth.
So that's massive. Now you think about it, AI has massive energy use.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You've got to use a lot. And there's a lot of complaints about AI centers, how much noise they make and this sort of thing when they're in your backyard.
There's all sorts of things to it.
Absolutely. So what his vision is that he wants AI centers from space. Now you think about it, he talks about a little bit after this clip, I cut it short because it was a bit of a long one, but he also talks about the power of the sun, how much it generates, all this sort of stuff, and sending that energy back to Earth. This is the big long-term vision of what he's thinking. And you can think about how much that's going to cost. Now,
I'm thinking about how much the cord's going to cost. But, jeez.
Well, that's right. It's a big cable, isn't it?
Big cable.
Very big cable, or a big mirror or whatever they're doing.
Exactly.
Big dish. So this is what you've got to think in mind. I think also this is not a short-term thing, right? This is a long-term. To build out that kind of vision, not only a lot of money, but a lot of time.
We're probably talking lifetimes here, honestly.
And so what you got to think about here is people from the financial perspective are going, it's a 1.75 trillion valuation, the largest IPO ever attempted. You're paying 94 times annual revenue at the moment, not earnings, revenue.
Whoa.
For the shares at 150 when it was launched, $150 US a share.
Okay.
The company lost nearly $5 billion last year. So when you're paying 94 times top line of a money-losing business, it's argued by Ticket to Ara that you're not buying a company, you're buying a story. And I think that's what you've got to think about. Now, again, I come back to one of my first points when I was saying when Tesla was still out there, it was losing money all the time, but people bought the story. And look at what Tesla's doing now.
That's right.
So I think Elon's got a few more tricks up his sleeve that we probably doesn't let on.
Oh, no doubt he's holding back information. And why wouldn't you? It would be foolish to let everybody know your plans.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when Tesla came along as a car company, I mean, yes, I actually did a little research because back then they were actually making them out of a little Lotus, the original ones. So, that pricked my interest. And I looked at it and, I found out later that they were losing money on every single car. Like financially, it was an absolute disaster. But it was a very clever disaster because guess what? It got guys like me, car guys, enthusiasts, looking at as electric as an alternative. All right. Now, if you just made it something mundane and sensible, would I have looked? And millions of others wouldn't. You must make the product exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's marketing.
Well, what he did was he did the Model X first, the luxury car.
That's right.
And it was like 150 to 180,000 to get that US with the currency and all that exchange. And so it was out of most people's reach. And then his plan was once you make the luxury car, make one more accessible to the masses. Right. And he did about 2 versions of it. Very clever. Rather than going, sell more units, it was and I think from an engineering perspective that was smart too, because they could spend more time on less orders on the luxury end and get that right. And once they've got that model right, then they can do a smaller version of it. I think that was very clever from an engineering perspective.
I agree. And I mean, and ultimately long term, what's happened is that Tesla's found its place in the market, and the people who might want to not spend that much are buying the Chinese ones that fit into that gap. Because look, let's face it, free enterprise will always find a way.
Yes, yeah, it's really, really fascinating how that worked. Now, have a look at this next part here. Okay. This slide, I believe.
Yep.
We're up to a video, or
no, slide.
Okay, so this is the first night when SpaceX opened. You can see at the start of the night it was $150, and then it went right up to, what was it, $160, $170 US up the peak.
Let's bring it a little bigger. Yep.
There we go. Yeah. So it went over to about $176 a share. And then there was a bit of sell-off, people taking their profits. Okay. And it closed at $160. So $10.95 up from the open. Now, the concern I have with IPOs is typically if you see them, people get into them, and then there's a big sell-off after the hype.
People want short-term cash.
Yeah. And so then history has shown with different stocks, they go right down and can do that. So, whether you want to buy this or not, that's really do your own diligence, talk to your licensed financial planner about this, because this is not a stock recommendation. It's just that may not happen to
it's an observation, very clearly.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So, it's really interesting how the market went for that. And of course, in the middle of that, about 3/4, you see the volume trading just dropping as it was being sold off.
Yeah, I can see that.
At the bottom there, those volume bars are showing that. But the excitement at the beginning of the opener market, everybody was buying in. You see the long columns down there at the bottom showing the volume of trading going through it.
But there's never a high drop as far as there's certainly no dumping of stock there of any consequence there. I don't think so.
Well, there's a gradual sell-off from about 176 to the end of trading night. But, I mean, that's just one night of trading. There's not enough data there.
It's gradual. It's not sudden.
We're going to see a whole different picture of this in 6 months, 12 months' time as to how this company's actually going.
This is a grab of one day, isn't it?
This is one-day trading.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's one night of trading.
Big picture.
So, there's not enough data there to grab. What is the actual market sentiment on this?
Okay. It's a lot to take in, mate. It's a lot. I mean, not bad for a guy, who's become a trillionaire and says, I'd go as far as to say I think Elon Musk has had probably the biggest effect of anybody in the last probably 100 odd years on the world. I mean, where do you see? Obviously, you can see his vision from a social standpoint. What do you see the changes? Because we've now got a trillionaire. We're now moving into that territory.
Well, it takes the cap off billionaires and go, okay, I can get past that to $1 trillion. So I think we'll probably see more trillionaires in the years to come. Probably not as many, but $1 million used to sound a lot. Now it doesn't sound like anything big when you compare it to billionaires. So I think the gathering of the amount of billionaires that we'll see will probably increase. And millionaires. And I think we'll get a few more trillionaires in years to come. Obviously, this can all change. Like if there's a massive dumping of this stock overnight, then that affects their net worth. Of course, it's all estimated, because this is not, again, cash. These are assets that we're talking about and being valued here.
Well, so if the value of Tesla stock drops dramatically, hey, guess what? He's not a trillionaire anymore.
That's right. Yeah. So I think what we're also seeing here is the world is going to change through business with AI. Now, we are helping at Blue Sky Factory, particularly professionals and business people who want to get in on their business and how to pivot with this AI coming in.
Pivot is the absolute.
We're educating
key
them.
to it. Yeah,
and AI is at a tipping point right now, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's in the last 6 months, it's gotten really good. Okay, it was making a lot of errors even 6 months ago.
Sure,
but stuff it's putting out now is extraordinary. The next version, they actually shut down. One of the versions of Claude over the weekend because it was threatening US defense. The US government had to step in and stop it. And so AI is at that point now where if you don't get in now and start learning it, it's going to be harder to do so in the next 6 months.
Me not being a computer nerd, I don't get the whole, with quantum computers. Okay, I've been hearing about those for years now, and the slow introduction. If you're combining the two, you think about things like defense. That is just, it's so vulnerable.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because what the time, I love the analogy that Travis used to use, where in the time that it takes you to read one book, AI and quantum computing has read the entire library.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I mean, I was talking to a programmer recently and he said he's been using AI to build out a particular program. And he said, this would have taken me a year to build. I've done it in about a week. Wow. I mean, that's just extraordinary, the productive rates. Really so, if you're going to sit around and think about this, don't think too long, because you've got to start pivoting and moving towards learning these skills.
And I think this is not just a lesson for business owners. I think this is a lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
I think if you don't jump on this train, the old toothpaste is out of the tube. If you don't jump on this train now, you are going to miss out.
And the positive of this, Aaron, is, I mean, I've got a whole bunch of people who's starting tomorrow with a course called Prepare to Prosper. We've also at the same time got a wealth shift happening, a great wealth transfer. Yeah. So you combine this with the AI revolution that's going on, there is huge opportunity to make potentially generational wealth changes.
Okay.
And so if you snooze, I was talking to someone this morning, if you snooze for 6 months, it's not going to, it may not necessarily be the same opportunity. That's right. You've got to take action.
I've just popped on the bottom of the screen there. We've got blueskyfactory.com.au screaming across there. Well, it's not screaming. It's just casually walking. Yeah. But get yourself onto that website, because the education that you put forward, and also it's not even just the information, mate. The way you do it is absolutely brilliant. You make it very easy, very comfortable. People can work at their own pace, and that's a great thing, because I think a lot of us look at this and think, geez, this is overwhelming. There's a lot here. One thing I will give you complete credit for is, you will work at people's paces. You will revisit what you need to revisit. And you're quite frankly a very natural teacher.
Well, thank you. Yeah. We're overhauling that website at the moment. So the best, don't look to do we still offer the services that are on that website.
It down then. Okay,
no.
If
you want a 15-minute consult with me, that's the way to get in touch with me. Go to that website and just click in that, and we'll have a chat and find the right thing for you.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot going on at the moment, so
we've had to adapt with AI ourselves, right? So we're pivoting right now and going, okay, where does that set us in the market? And I've been able to come up with a strategy. Okay. And it's really, really exciting.
Absolutely brilliant, mate. Well, that is the end of the show. It is time to hit the road now. Thank you very much for that. As I say, get onto Blue Sky Factory. There's no E in there, blueskyfactory.com.au, and speak to Derek about one of these courses. It will change your life. No ifs, no buts about it. So thank you very much for being part of the Greater Wealth Heritage Radio Australia.